So I'm Cheri Easton. I'm the Advocacy Director for Survivors Fighting for Change Foundation, and we're a registered nonprofit, so we focus on awareness, information, and change, main focus being proactive. So prevention, we want to prevent child abuse in Canada. So Bountiful Market is a great opportunity for us because they provide an indoor market, and that allows us to distribute free child ID kits to anybody who's willing to bring their kids down and have one completed. So these are provided to us through the RCMP, and they're also provided in part by Walmart. We received our fingerprint training and DNA training through EPS, and we are able to complete the kits here on site, so parents can bring their kids down, we complete the kits, they take the kits home with them, so everything's kept by the parents. They're instructed to put it somewhere safe, and in the event that their child is ever reported missing, they can provide that kit to RCMP or their local police. Everything in the kit that would be needed to issue an Amber Alert is available. So the police claim that the Amber Alert can be issued within an hour of receiving the kit, where otherwise it could take up to 12 hours to issue that Amber Alert. And when a child goes missing, time is essential. So we provide these kits for free for anyone who wants to come down and get one. Yeah, so our petitions, we provide federal petitions. We have a federal petition right now that we're working on with an MP, and that will be available soon, where we're actually trying to invoke change across Canada specific to our criminal code. A lot of people don't realize that when an adult is charged with a sexual offense against a child in Canada and they're released on bail, there's no mandatory conditions. So that means there's no mandatory distance. They have to be from a playground, school, or the victim. There's no mandatory monitoring for that offender. And often that causes a lot of community concern when people are aware of that. So what we want to introduce is these mandatory conditions, so that way we have distances from playground, schools, and victims, so that way we have mandatory monitoring. And we're asking for a graduated system for repeat offenders, so that way that monitoring would increase and those distances would increase. So it's a very similar system that we already have in place for, say, a DUI. We have a graduated system with mandatory conditions. So we're just asking that we implement a very similar system for adults who are charged with child sexual offenses. And then we also help specific victims, specific cases, by providing community petitions. So these are specific to an offender, and there's 3 different petitions that we offer. One is a bail revocation or bail denial, and that's in the case that an offender is released on bail back into the same community as the victim or very close to a school or playground. We have one where we offer sentencing petitions, so this is for high-profile offenders, so people of high status who get charged. They often have reduced sentences because of their status. We feel that they should have higher sentences because of their status, especially when they're in a position of trust, like being a doctor or being a teacher, that deserves a higher sentence. And so we provide those petitions to communities so they can sign those, and then we provide those directly to the crowns that are handling those cases to encourage them to ask for higher sentences, push for higher sentences in those cases. And then we also have a dangerous offenders designation petition for very dangerous offenders. We have one in Edmonton that we've been collecting signatures for almost 2 years now. That's for Curtis Poberon. He's been offending for over 30 years. He's a repeat offender. He's diagnosed pedophile. He's qualified for every ground in that application since 2010, but the courts haven't put forward or granted that application yet. So with our community petitions, we're able to help encourage the courts to act accordingly based on community concern. Yeah, so for example, Wade Steen is a good example. This is the case that started this whole organization to begin with. Wade Steen kidnapped a very young girl who lived around the corner from him, and he was charged, and then he was released either the same day or the next day on bail back into the same community. So he actually lived a couple doors down from a playground and right around the corner from his victim. And the community was outraged. And so we went into the community with a bail revocation petition where we were basically providing the tertiary grounds to the courts. They're very limited on the grounds that they can use to deny or revoke bail, and the tertiary ground is the community concern. So by putting that community concern on a piece of paper and having the community sign that and providing that to the courts cannot present that as a ground in revoking or denying bail. So we were actually very successful with Wade Steen. We were able to have his bail denied, and he remained in remand for the remainder of the time while he waited for his trial. So I think it's about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, that he would have been living in that residence right across from that school and right around the corner from his victim. So we were able to prevent that from happening. We've had other offenders too who also released one guy 4 doors down from his victim. So we petitioned him, and we were actually able to have his release conditions changed, so he was actually no longer allowed in that city at all. So this is a huge concern, and the problem is that victims can't speak out about this publicly, and their families can't speak out about it publicly because of the publication bans that get put on their cases. So that's when they reach out to our organization, and we go in and we make the public aware. We collect the signatures, we put together the petitions, and then we provide everything to the courts to try and help not only the family and the victim, but also that community who otherwise probably would have never known. Yeah, so unfortunately in Canada, because we do the petitions, because we lobby the courts, and because we lobby legislation, our government, we ask them to change our criminal code to help better protect children within their communities. That makes us ineligible for charitable status. So we are a registered nonprofit, but we don't qualify for charitable status. So that means that we cannot provide tax receipts. We cannot, we're not eligible for lottery licenses, and we are not eligible for government grants. So everything that we do, we have to basically fund ourselves. Everything's through donation. We do sell some support and safety items for children. That helps. We have some fundraisers that we host at our events that help as well. People can always reach out to us for donations, and we're always looking for sponsorships as well. We're going to be looking for some sponsors for our child ID kits coming up next year, so we'll be reaching out to people, and hopefully we'll have some people reach out to us as well. We want to be able to distribute as many of those across Alberta as we possibly can, and having sponsors to help cover the cost for those kits will allow us to do that, because we need to make sure that they're free for everybody who wants one. The easiest way to donate to us is to reach out to us. We have a website, so survivorsfightingforchange.ca. We have social media. We have an email address, survivorsfighting@gmail.com. Anybody can reach out to us. There's different ways that you can donate. For anybody who wants some form of a tax receipt or a write-off for this, if you have a company and you're looking to support but want to be able to claim that support, we do have lots of options there. You can actually purchase supplies that we would need and then donate that as a gift. That way your company can write off those expenses as opposed to giving us cash, which we can't provide a tax receipt for. So we do have some options there for companies, and then for any individuals who want to help, definitely reach out to us, send us an email, go onto our website. There's tons of information there, and there's lots of ways to support what we do.